Hello, niggas. Right. Okay. I got. Oh my god. Oh my god. Что это такое? Подарю даже. Jesus Christ. Tak, no nic. No jasno to się. Potrzeba víc fluix. 100%. A fluix. A. Charged redstone nether quartz. Nether quartz. Charged redstone, right? Yep. Okay, buddy. Reaction chamber. Okay, let's go. Lights, seeds. Seeds. Nice. Hai guardato per reale. What is your fault? What? Okay, so I wanted this.
Side to fuel input. Turn on auto input and auto output. The sides you're going to use for power, you're going to need to set to output. So you can just set all of the other sides to output. Now we have to do some very specific things to make this work. First, we need to use a bucket to manually put some lava into the fluid tank. If the fluid tank ever goes empty, this whole thing will stop working. Now put a glass bottle in the top left slot. This is the slot for emptying containers, and we want to stop. Even though it doesn't technically cost that much, it's quite a process to set up if you haven't already done so. And with producing power, you're going to need a way to store it. Here's mainly what you need to know. In the early game, you can honestly use whatever's easiest. Now we're starting to approach the late game, the big power generators. The best of generator galore is the Nether Star generator. By itself, it only produces 4000 FE per tick. But generator galore allows you to craft multiple generators together as a compressed variant. And so the maximum is going to be a 64x Nether. Power isn't as strong in the early game, it's much better later power you'd be making. Although power is a fuel source, with speed upgrades, here's how much power you'd be making. Although power isn't as strong in the early game, it's much better later on. The nitro thermal generator is the highest tier, and with soul lava underneath, would generate almost 16,000 FE per tick. And just so we can make some comparisons, the nitro magmator, which takes lava as a fluid, would generate 10,000 FE per tick. But the nitro furnator, which takes lava buckets, will generate 20,000 FE per tick. Unfortunately though, it looks like our previous setup with lava buckets won't work as nicely with the furnator. So instead we'd have to set the bottom of the fluid tank to push, and have something pipe the buckets back to our fluid tank with the filter set to buckets only. Or use something like Super Factory Manager. A nitro solar panel will actually make 50,000 FE per tick. Obviously, the limitation for these is the sun, but if you really wanted to, you could automate an Ars ritual to make it permanently daytime. Iron Furnaces also has the Rainbow Furnace. If you have one of each kind of furnace, not including all the modium, vibranium, and unobtainium, if all of these are working as generators and their buffers aren't full, the Rainbow Furnace would generate an extra 50,000 FE per tick, meaning it'll generate 52,000 FE per tick on its own, or 54,000 FE per tick with a speed upgrade. Just an FYI, a lot of people seem to have trouble getting this to work. So just remember, you can only have one rainbow furnace, and all of your other furnaces need to have generator upgrades, and they need to be constantly producing energy. That means their buffers can't be full. So if you have to, you can guarantee this by using energy trash cans to void the power from all the other furnaces. Rainbow generators. First, we're going to have our furnace with a generator upgrade. On top, we're going to place a fluid tank from Ender.io and a fluid drawer on top of that with 3 dripping upgrades. On the fluid tank, we're going to configure the top side to pull and set the bottom side to push and pull. On the furnace, set the top side to fuel input. Turn on auto input and auto output. The sides you're going to use for power, you're going to need to set to output. So you can just set all of the other sides to output. Now we have to do some very specific things to make this work. First, we need to use a bucket to manually put some lava into the fluid tank. If the fluid tank ever goes empty, this whole thing will stop working. It's Bucket. Oh, I know it's been a while since the last video, but for good reason. You see, I've been busy. Oh, have I been?
In the metallurgic infuser, now anything serious, you kind of need several of these. So I set up is a thermo generator with a made it here. It just the options I would suggest there. Next up, let's talk about mid game and what our options are there. So these are the reactors by Powa, and I like them a lot. I think they're a very solid source of power. It does take resources. What we have to add is uranite, ice, coal, redstone, and a bucket of water to each of them. So to do this, all we do is we open it up, redstone, coal, ice, and uranite, and then we right click on the whole thing with a bucket of water. You'll notice it's going to start producing power for us, and it produces, even at just like the blazing level, very, very large amount of power very quickly. So it generates 9,000 FE per tick. Incredibly efficient. Again, same thing here. We add all those, put a bucket of water in there, and it starts generating the power for us. So the reactors and power are a great source mid-game. It also is cool because you can upgrade these and continue to use them as you get closer towards the end game, because they can upgrade all the way to the nitro reactors, which we're going to see in a second. And it can create a very, very large amount of power. All right, option number 2 are these netherite generators. These are one of the most updated versions of those coal generators before, the iron generators that we showed. Just like the other ones, all you need to do is add some coal.
It's our cable tells us 6 out of 8 channels. Same thing. Apply color. Applied Logistics is also a storage mod, and everything is stored digitally on storage cells. There's storage cells for items, but also fluids. If you're playing all the mods 10, you also have storage cells for chemicals, radioactive material, source, and power. Your storage cells will come in different sizes, but can only hold a limited amount of type. Through the colors by right-clicking in the air, or by pressing shift and using the scroll wheel. Then just right-click your cable to apply color. Applied Logistics is also a storage mod, and everything is stored digitally on storage cells. There's storage cells.
However, we're going to set it down here. It was brought to my attention sometime last week during a live I can build an ME system without having to go look up how to do it or watch tutorials or anything like that. And apparently that's not a super common knowledge base to have, because a lot of the people that were watching mentioned that they've never built one because they felt like it was too complicated. And so proving an ME how to build, what you're going to do is not build a computerized storage system. You're probably going to chop down a tree with your bare hand and get some basic tools, then get some food going, yada yada, right? Normal Minecraft things. However, what we're going to do this time is I'm just going to walk you through, once you're ready for a computerized storage system, what you do to get started with an ME system. So the easiest way to start with this is to look at your map. Sometimes you'll be able to you can tell. You're probably going to get some as you mine where you're done. You're going to set that power. I usually just use a windmill. It does have some sort of power source with some cabling that goes into both the inscriber and the charger themselves. Now, once you have this set up, you're actually ready to start building the components for your ME system. So let's get into that. So the first piece of the ME system we're going to be making is the ME drive. And in order to do this, you're going to need a couple different things. The easiest pieces to get are obviously the 4 iron ingots. In addition to that, we're going to need 2 engineering. We're going to be making an inscriber. So for the inscriber, you're going to get, and that's about it. Keep in mind that you're going to have to hook both of these up to some sort of power source. Early game power, I usually just use a windmill. It doesn't take a lot of power, but you will need some. So I had this set up just as an example. Basically, all you have to do is have some sort of power source with some cabling that goes into both the inscriber and the charger themselves. Now, once you have this set up, you're actually ready to start building the components for your ME system. So let's get into that. So the first piece of the ME system we're going to be making is the ME drive. And in order to do this, you're going to need a couple different things. The easiest pieces to get are obviously the 4 iron ingots. In addition to that, we're going to need 2 redstone dust, single redstone. You've got 2 diamonds. We're going to pull that out and then pull the press out as well. Take the 2 silicon, drop those in there with the silicon press, and then wait for that to press redstone dust inside of here. Now, in order to make them, we're going to take our next step is charge it up. It made that. So we have room for it. You had her finally to our inscriber engineering to be connected to actually view what's in our inventory. It's going to be a one. It's exactly take Certus Quartz crystals and throw them into the inscriber, and they will turn into Certus Quartz dust. This is really mostly helpful when you're trying to get a lot of silicon so that you can make more of these logic processors. So we take our silicon and our gold ingot, we bring it over here, throw the silicon in with the silicon press. Once that's done, we'll throw our logic press in with our gold ingot, and finally the logic circuit with the silicon and a piece of redstone, and that gives us our logic processor. All right, with that out of the way, let's go ahead, take the Certus Quartz we have, throw it all in there, and we now have a one. There's 2 ways. You can either dust with a single piece of store item. Is a go ahead and do that. Cheap. There's the formation processors. Take 2 silicon. We're going to energize. Now we're core and the formation core. Flux glass cable, and all you have to do is drag in all your drive is. You can hub you need to do to make your very what is in that drive specifically, so that you can tell how full it is and if you need to make more drives. But that's effectively it. This is everything you need to do to make your very first starting out basic beginner AE2 ME system. Now, there's a lot more here that we could expand on. If you're interested, please leave a comment down below.
Sophisticated storage, it has its own version. And there are a lot of recipes that you get where you can compress items down. So for example, you can turn iron nuggets into iron and then back into the nugget form. You can also compress it further, so you can have iron ingots into blocks and then also back. Technically in all the mods, you can also even do this further. So now you've got logistics. It's a really simple setup. You need to have the crafting terminal, the cable, and the storage bus, along with some sort of way of powering it. In this case, a single crystal resonance generator will actually power the whole system. You hook up the storage buses correctly like this, connect them all up with Fluix cable, place your crafting terminal anywhere on that line, and then power it with a resonance generator. This then gives you the access to all of your stuff. Again, I can't stress this enough, you have to set your priorities. So go into the storage bus and up the priority by a little bit, and then we'll also do it for this one over here. We may be up it by 10. And after you've done that, please just make sure that you test your system and make sure that's all working as intended. Right, that's perfect. Now the crafting terminal is a little bit difficult to make because it requires these processors which require the inscriber. I'm not going to cover the entire applied energy. So for now, I would advise you either craft the guide from applied energy, not to crank on top, and you also need a hand. The guide, it's really simple. You need to get a charger, not hand crank, turned into the guide. Same setup, but in refined storage. You need to use the external storages here. Apply them on everything, add the cable, then the crafting grid, and you do need a controller. You can actually avoid the controller with applied energistics because you're going to be using less than 8 channels. But with the controller, you place it down and put some sort of energy source to the side of it, and now you've got the exact same setup again. Priorities are set directly on the external storage by just pressing here. Applied energistic storage, it's split between bytes and types. Types are really simple, that's just individual different items. For example, you know, all these different types of wool here, that would be one type each. The bytes is the actual amount of stored items of those types. So here's a chest example of this. You've got 63 different types of items. I can have everything in different slots. But in terms of bytes, I can add more than one stack of these items, and that would increase the byte count. However, unlike chests, where you've got a slot set up, once this global byte cap's reached, no more items can be put in. Now the way that bytes are calculated is a little bit confusing, but I'm going to quickly try to go through it. 8 individual items is equal to 1 byte. However, one type is also equal to 8 bytes. Meaning right now I've got 2 lots of 8 items, and then 8 for white wool, which equals 10 bytes used. So if I have an entire stack of wool in here, that's 16, meaning 8 lots of 8, and then the 8 for the item type of wool. If I added 2 stacks, it would equal 24, meaning I'm using 16 bytes for the storage of the item quantity and 8 for the white wool. So if I add white wool again, that will be 32 bytes. I did tell you this was going to get confusing. And like I said before, the byte count is specifically for this cell. So if I max this out on white wool, I would not be able to add any more of the other types of wool that I want to actually add. Even though, as an example, I'm only using one of the 63 types. One of the best ways I can kind of explain this is if I've got a chest and I've filled it with white wool, I'm not actually able to add another slot. If I take an item out, now I can finally store my new type of item. So there's 2 things here. The first thing I want to do is set it so only the items from my mob farm can go into this disk specifically. I don't want to be storing my actual regular storage alongside an absolute ton of these bones, rotten flesh, and gunpowder. The second thing I want to do is make sure that we're splitting the disk evenly between every single type of item that I'm actually storing. So similar to a chest, I want to make sure that every single item gets represented equally throughout. And Applied Energistics allows you to do both of these things by using something called the Cell Workbench. It's crafted like so, and when you go into the Cell Workbench, you can click on all of your items to partition a disk so that it only accepts those specific things. So now click on all called the Cell Workbench. It's crafted like so, and when you go into the Cell Workbench, you can click on all of your items to partition a disk so that it only accepts those specific things. So now if I pull the disk out and then go back to my disk system and put it in, I should be able to store the bones, rotten flesh, but I shouldn't be able to store my other items. If I had other disks here, I could store them in there, but it won't let me put them into this partitioned drive. So this is now when I introduce the equal distribution card. It's not a difficult craft per se. What you do is you place that in there, and now it will partition this so that the storage is equally split between the partitioned items. So the entire 1024 bytes is now split between just these 3 items. I could also still keep adding items to this, and it will split them equally between them. So I'm going to show an example here where I'm going to use something called this. It's not a difficult craft per se. What you do is you place that in there, and now it will partition this so that the storage is equally split between the partitioned items. So the entire 1024 bytes is now split between just these 3 items. I could also still keep adding items to this, and it will split them equally between them. So I'm going to show an example here where I'm going to use something called an import bus next to a creative crate here that's going to spawn in infinite bones. I'll plop the import bus here, which means it's going to be importing those items into the drive. Now, right now there's no disk in in there. I'm also going to add some acceleration cards so this is sped up significantly. And I'm actually going to duplicate this cell, and I'm going to remove one of the equal distributions so we can test before and after. So if I place the one without the equal distribution, you'll see here it's now filling up the disk, and it's actually just taking over the complete disk. You know, I'm not going to have any storage space for the other items. And there we go. We've now completely filled up the disk, got a red light there, and if I try to add any rotten flesh or gunpowder, it just will not let it. So I'm now going to remove this item and replace it with the one with the equal distribution card in it. And you can see it's only using 256 out of the 1024 bytes. That's because that's exactly a quarter, which is what we've partitioned this to be. So now I have enough space to actually start storing my rotten flesh, my oak logs, and I can actually store, well, clearly 1984 of them into this disk, and it will be fine. But let's say we had a system like we did before where we have a storage bus connected. Well, what's going to happen is this is not going to be able to store it into the disk anymore, and it's now going to start inputting it into our external storage. Exactly the same problem that we had with the drawers. Now in the drawers case, we added void upgrades. Now there's a similar type of thing that you can add to the ME disks that do the exact same thing. So I'm going to take my partition drive out of this system, and I'm then going to put it into my cell workbench again. If I add the overflow destruction card, which again is not a difficult recipe, I then add it to the interface and then take out my storage cell, you'll see the upgrades are now in here. If I place this in my drive and I have a lower priority on my storage bus, meaning that it will try to fill the drive first, then it will try and fill the storage bus. You'll see that now I've taken out these bones from this chest, it's no longer filling up. But if I take some bones away, it will still add it. It will add it to this disk, and once it gets too full, it will void any more. So we've now got the same thing with that drawer and void upgrade thing, but in just one block space. And technically, I can have 7 more of these different drives holding different items. So in this example, I'm going to try and take every single one of these items and put it into a disk drive. So I've opened up my 1K storage. I'm now going to partition every single one of these items in there. I'll also add my equal distribution card and my overflow destruction card, take it out and put it into my drive. And now if I place all of these items back into my system, you'll see they're now stored correctly. But you'll see the limit is now incredibly low. The limit is now 210 of each of these items. And that's because we only used a 1K storage item cell, the lowest tier. There's actually an absolute ton of them. So there's the 1K, 4K, 16K, and it goes all the way up to the millions, and then even the 256 million. Now, I don't know what mob farm you have, but if that's going to be able to store that, that's crazy. So let's say my mob farm's kind of built up a bit. I don't want to use maybe the 4K.
Okej, tak, počkat. To je trošku problém. A už to dá trošku víc smysl. Já jsem si to dělal tady ty 242 tisíc bajtů. Za 63 typů. Right. Už to rozdělím. Prostě každopádně to druhý bylo history mission card. Jo. To by bylo co?
I want million. Take these items to a disk, but in just one block space. Take some bones away. You'll see that now you'll see is now put it into my cell work. So I'm going to take my partition drive out of this system, and I'm then going to put it into my cell workbench again. If I add the overflow destruction.
Overflow destruction. Tak. Cell workbench. I see. We have this already, but oh, there it is. Yeah. So let's see, I have this. 2, 3, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 4, 6, 7, 8, 63. 63 typů, to se tím, okay. Takže tohle to jo. Takže 2, 6, 2, 1, 4, 4. 2, 6, 2, 1, 4, 4. 63, jo. 4000 itemů. 4000 na jeden item. Aha, jeden item. 4000 věcí na jeden item. Ale můžu jenom hrozně málo typů. Tohle je prostě ten úplně největší huge věc prostě. To je prostě 2000, jo. Kolik to bylo? Jo, ne, 4000. 4000 itemů na jeden. 4000 itemů na jeden ten. To bude to equal distribution. Which is nice. Okay, 3 more though. Okay, 3 more. Tam budu jenom sbírat takový ty menší, jako třeba 4kový prostě takový ty 4kový malý bloky, víš co? Prostě 4kový, ty vole, si děláš prdel. To si děláš prdel. Cože? Přepádně. Kolik tam mám nejvíc, což to když nepočítám nuggetky, tak 32 000 brambor, to je trošku víc než 4. Ale tolik věcí tam zas nej. No. Jako nad 4K. Pro ty největší tam můžu dělat jako... Nebude to dlouho trvat, ale můžu udělat i megabajtový, při nejhorším. Megabajt děláno 4, zhruba děláno 63, 15 000, to je dost víc. Můžu udělat 2 megabajtový, no, asi to tak udělám. Megabyte. Ježiš, ani jsem to seru. Dobrý. Aha, tak je divnej. Tak to je v pořádku. Ale nevím, co je Skyho změl. Aha, asi, okay. Tak hodně můžeme udělat. Mega. A bude to insane teda. Máme doba, teda jo. Ok, tak než uděláme teda 2 ty. Což je 6 těch. Ok, to jsou cert Nějaký kvarc. Co tam ještě bylo? Skystone. Sense. Místo kvarcu tam je 8. Dobře. Tak jo. Charge, Certus. Ne, Certus. Charge, Certus. Certus. Yo. Yo! Charge Certus. Ah, it needs lava. Aha, okay. I got some buckets, so let's go. Some lava. Winter accumulation. The Flux dust. Accumulation. Oh, come on, there's no way. There's no way there. Right. No, that's much better. Need singularity, bro. Come on. Come on, man. Tomu se ani bavit nebudu. You know how long this will take, bro? Ridiculously long, bro. Just ridiculous. Shit, processor. třeba dělat tohleto. Tak jo. Ezer. Dobře. Dobře. Tak tam dáme 10 dřevěných brambor. Třeba. I don't understand this. How I did that. Ah, there we go. That's it. Teď si pořídím hopper. See. No, it's the same. It's the same. It's the same shit. There's actually no way I just did that, bro. Are we serious right now? Bro, there's no way I just... There's no way I just did that. Oh my god. Never get a singularity. Some shit such did it, bro. Some shit. Spawn. Excessive. Let's see, you know. It's my put Where's that? City guard. City. To už je takážku trošku pozdě, mám pocit. Skvělé, Sigmardy. Bože můj, tak, teď So, is that page? Is that beautiful. Just Yes, můžeme to držet. Sky Steel Ingot. Sky Steel. Charged. Iron. What's that? Charged iron skystone. Skystone. Charged. Spectral silicon. Place. What's over there? Sen. Teraz ja chciałem znaleźć, że prosím. Yes, nice, okay. Boom. Boom. Okay. Bullets. This guy's done. Good shit. This guy's still. Okay. Stop. pt2. Надо же кто-то, а потом. Сейчас реконтролю. Честно. Спец. Спец. Взять. Ja. Some bad ideas. Flux, dust, eh? Jag tar något. Ja, sen bestellen. Okay. Stay. Just hit it $10. Nice. All that. Chociaż ten planet. I gdzieś potrzebował 16 seats. Když to bylo... sakra. Počkej. Kalkulačka. 1 milion, 63. 15 na 1, jo. Teda 16. To je v pohodě, to je super. No, 25, 63, jsou 4, ne. Aspoň 16, rozhodně. To jo. Počkej. Equal distribution card. Tady. Yeah, this is nice. Dobře, rozumím tomu. Nice. Give me that. Pak. see. I lose so cool distribution tag. A teďka ještě ten profile destruction. Ah, beautiful. Okay. To moc pěkný. Tak jo. Tak to jsem měl teďka všem ty megabajty. Aspoň 2 by to chtělo. Víš čo? Z toho bude něco jiného. Kolik to třeba beru? Calculation. Calculation. Kalkulace. Tady mám silikon, zlato. Zlato, jasný, ok. Tak, to dává per řádničky. Kolik frezí třeba? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, ok. Aspoň 10 teda, asi víc. 10, ještě ze spodu. Jo, ok. Ještě 2 čestky. Tak. Dobrý. Okay. Nedokážu to ještě 2 čestky. Kolik je to třeba? sem hodíme například printed nebo redstone. Co bude? Inserts it somewhere. What? Ash break. The fuck? Nobody asked you to do that. It vanishes. No, it just like destroys it. For example, it was if something was in here. Taky jinak. Že to prostředí budeme muset prostě dávat sami, to okay. Ale řekněme, že bychom se dali teda redstone sami. No, jsme ten redstone sami. Tak. Teďka tohleto by správně mělo šlupnout. Ne, jakože 3, 2, ale tak by to mělo dělat to samý. OK. Sem teda házím printed. Modrý, ještě si teda vezmu tady. Zlato. Ještě 2 na certovské. Řekněme, že dávám. Co ještě tam dám? Certus quartz. It works. Now it works. Aha, okay. Aha. Dobře. Tohoto já nemusím. Tak to je super. A sem se rekonat můžu? Sem se rekonat můžu. That's beautiful. Yes, let's go. Ještě nemusím. No víš co, já to se podívím. Ne, nemusím, víču. Třeba jsem... Gold. Jediný co musím, jsou redstone. A printed silicon. Stačí redstone, jo? Já jsem dal redstone. Když to jsem byl doplňovat, tak je to tady. Beautiful. Redstone, Certus, Gold. A to vydrží. takže jsem to Certus. Jo, nevím. Certus. Čert. Dobře. Více tady. Stačí. Já, to je možná ještě jedno. Sračky. Klik. Asi ne. Proč levely? Tak. Myslím, že ještě ty, ještě... Co to je? Aha, co? Printy. Check, už vím. Check. To je jedna, okay. Skvělé. Tohle je výsledný produkt. Silikon tady. Ne, co jsem chtěl. A tady. Jsem dám print calculation circle. Tady craftí. Jo, ne, to jsem. To už mi dělá. Calculation, to stejně objeví. Tak, calculation. Tak tady pohodím. Musím takové částky k sobě vlastně. Nechám to tady. Že sem dávám modrý, sem dávám Certus Quartz, který se pak tvoří. Oh my god, ok. To je zprost. To je dobře. Takže tady ještě jsem jen hopnul. Já to tvořit. Jo, měl Havan, má to samozřejmě power, že? Kokos. A teď by to mělo tvořit, jak mu nakonáme teda silikon ještě. Tak se má silikon. Už to tvoří. Už to dělá knedlíky. Super. A teď taky bude pořádný knedlíky. To si to zapne. Dobří, a tady jsou silikony. Zlato, tady to funguje. A to když kombinuju s tímhle. Dám sem silikon a redstone tady ještě. Tak mi to bude dělat circuity. Let's go. A nic. Ještě bych to mohl připojit tam. Bych mohl. To nám bylo i trošku rychlejší potom pro mě. Nápis vydávání. Různých věciček, já už myšlel třeba. Tak počkej, stop, chlapče. Počkej to. Tak. Jeď tam, nesem. Zase jeď tam. To by to mělo správně doputovat sem. Let's go. Tak jo. znamená, že i tohleto, ale... Už tam... Kdyby... No tak, když tam už ho tohleto, tak to musí fungovat. Černý. To je všechno. Tady. A jo, na příště. Dobrá. Takže tam je Jack circuity. Jo, funguje to. Okay, funguje to. Funguje to úplně pohodně. Máme teda hodně těch zlatých. Trošku moc, ne? Jesus Christ. To je no. To je docela upgrade. Dáme si víc těch speed upgradeů. Počkejte, jak by to mělo mít. 4, 2, tady jsou 1, 3, 2. Má 1, tyhle. Nic tak odberu tady. Teďka potřebuji ještě 2 speed. A pak 2 a potom 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 10, 12. 12 speed upgrade. A tak. Dobře. Já mám 15. To myslím, že nemáme calculation. Ty, vtipalku. I to můžeme myslet. Že už je tady. Dvanáct, jo. 12. Tak, good. Ten upgrade. Z toho teďka každý bude mít jeden. Což velice urychlí celkovou produkci. Tak, to je asi myslím, nějakých 75%. Velice tak, já doplňám tyhle. Right. Ne, sem. Beautiful. To se tady stopeč, to je konečně. A jo, vlastně. Máš ještě se to. Saftus. A tyhle ty, jasný. Funguje. To je super, to funguje ten boží. A 2 mašinek. Počkej, to se 8. 4. Pum. A pum. Tak. Čekáme se modrý. Na tím, že to jde po jednom, ty opět jak jsou pomalu jak kokoska, tak to jde pomalu. Zakně se na koukám. A žádné si konečně. To tady taky můžeme teda no. OK. Ještě jsem přidal. Tak. Jack Serky. Serky. Můžeme tohleto. Že čistý matematicky. Jeden ten je 81 těch malých. 81 krát 3. 243. Pocit. ještě něco. Ještě 43 děleno 3. 81, super. 243. Ty vyštělko, to je dost. To je dost. 243. 243 děláme 64 je. To je trošku píčovina, počkej. To je možný. Je ten ústane nás vzal. To je hrozně málo. 300 taky to nebude. To je dost. Jsem zápět nebyl. To je takhle čtvrt, že jo, to je jasný. To je schláňačky. Že mám takhle čtvrt a 1. Takhle čtvrt a 1 je teda co přesně. Vždycky to. Já pošlu kvartus. Nic. Fakt je to pravda. Že tohle je 3krát už jenom. Nebo už jen 2krát. Takže 81. 81 je 1. Co je hustý. Teď už 3. OK. Tak to celé zdarma. Já udělám. To jsem plán. Ty vole, tak to dostanu. Tak třeba Fix Dust. Počkej, Certus Dust, čo? Certus Quax Dust. Certus je to ty zarost. Dust vlastně potřebujeme, počkej. Jsem to tady učí sračku, bude ten rozvoj vybitý, že jo? Jsem si. Tak, už. Já to zdást, tím vystavím. Další. Další tady. Ještě. Tak asi už stačí s tím. Už to možná hodně nebudu. Prozatím tady vezmu. Ten bys taky dostává. Ale to máme. To už je celý. To je co vás bylo. Co tady? Peču se. Děláme další. Tak. Můžu stačit. Co kdyby se máme 2 megabajty? Ne. Kolik to bylo? 4, ne? 4. Největší item. 16. crazy. Jump it to far, je to symetrický. Tak, jsem to chtěl. Jo. Tak. To tady. Drandí. A dochází jenom stykovat ty Sarduse, to si moc nelíbí. To je docela důležitý materiál. Možná. Trošku až moc důležitý. Jo. Prozaď. 44. Sakra. Je to Sardus, už jenom Sardus. Jsme v koďáku. Jsme v koďáku. Jsme v koďáku. Takže mám ještě jeden teda. Jenom jeden a pak už to je v koďáku nakonec. Pak už je to v koďáku. No máme druhý. To je dobře. A bude potřebovat Certus dost. Hodně. Certus dost. Tady máme štěstnice. To nebude stačit. Snad jo. Jo, okej, to bude stačit. Dobře. Stačí ta baďura. A co? Co myslím na baďura? Ale ještě ještě. Je tady kočička, ahoj, Pepiku. Mám čo, tady odnes prosím tady tu mazlinku, už jsem. Já musím ale dopapat, ne, počkej, tady máš, mamko, tady máš. Maminko, a on to tady smrdí. Dolů, to smrdí hrozně. No tak máš smlouvu, vám mě musíš tam, prosím. Jak chceš, no, tak nic, nevadí. Ach jo, to je kačena. Nic. Tak to mi tady vyrábí jobky. Nice. Tady mi to vyrábí. Tak. Satisfying. To má být. Tak máme teda Certus. Může stačit, ještě jednou hodím teda to. Ty roček dvou. Tak. Just in case. Kolik to tady tvoří? Správně tvoří. Koldy ještě, a co? Třeba taky koldy. Třeba co to je teda? To říku, to formuje. Teďka redstone. Režiju jednou. Tak. Máme boldy. To je nice. By mohlo stačit, ne? Snad. Snad jo. Tak. 5, 64. to vůbec advanced, ne? Co mám zažál? Začal bys dál. Storage. Bro, I know I have this, bro. I like that. Co jsem to craftil, kámo. To mi ani nevěcí tady. To ani neskouší na mě tady. To. Já vím, že to mám. To mám. Prostě si, že to mám, tyjo. What? Tak, mega, let's go. Ne. Dobře, asi ne. Čekaj, to bylo. Krát 3. 43 dělám na 64. 6, skoro 400 taky. 300 taky těch, jo. Okay. To ne. To je prázdný. Se tam se tam střílet musíme už. Se si může vypadnout. Čekal bych. A to asi ještě ne. Ne, to opravdu nemusí. Musí se otevřít. Musí se otevřít. Tak. A je silikon. Silikon. Tohle a ještě teda redstone. Stačit snad. Jakože aby to je docela dost. Těch lučíků tak moc není, ale tohle to rozhodně ano. Těch rozhodně je velká spousta. Takže, gut. Řeším 3, co možná. No, je to dost rychlý, naštěstí. Já jsem dobře, že jsem měl ten speed carny. Ty speed carny. Takže je potřeba hodně, no. No, jako větší než mega. Což já nevím, to už dá se nepotřebuje, jako. Kolik to bylo? 4000? Ne, počkej. 1 milion, ano, 63. To je 16 000, no i ten. Zbytek je 4000. Když nepočítám tohleto. Když nepočítám tohleto. Jako jo, je to docela málo. Okej, ale... I don't know. Tak když dám esence, jakože budu mít větší... jakože... Ty... Že to dám na esence a zbytek bude normální. To mám být v klidu. Snad. Ale to je dost těžký nastavit to, že? Jakože... Máme tady celé z itemů. A basically nespočet typu... No, zaujímavé. Jo, carost. Aj karamba, teď jsem to mazal. Co to máš tady, ty vole? Další. Ples. Ach, chopej. Aspoň už nemusím nic stěžit. Tak. A ještě na tohleto, co si mohli dělat. Tady to ty Quantum Network Bridge, ale no tak, děto. Co to je možný, ne? Jak je to v pořádku? Okej, to je dobrý. Ještě na to zkoukat. Oh boy. Jestli jsem celý. Ale tohle by mělo být hotový. Teďka můžu podat. Takže to staku. Tři taky, jo. 3. Sakra. To by nešlo. Fuck. Ani stačí. Hell no. Okay, ano. Certus. Musím to červat. Certus. Certus, certus. Aj, aj, aj. Tak snad jo. Jsou 3 taky. 3x64. A 4, 3. A 4, 3. A 4, 3. Yes. To snad není pravda, ty píčo. Let's go. Bam. Štěstí. Až tak. Trošku. stačit. Teď se jenom tady 7 staků. Ahoj, ne, pardon. Vezmu 12 čo? Oh my god. Stop. Okay. Let's go. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Get us our reaction. Valid. Let's go. Dug. Okay. Nice. Tak jo. V životě už tak čas, ok? V životě už nikdy. Dobře. Maximálně tady 4K, nebo něco takového, prostě. Yeah. Just something really small. Like 16. I don't know. 16K. Ještě itemů. A to jsou takový jako malý bobky, víš co, to už jako nic není, víš. No, čekej. Protože... Ještě, to je osmá. No, takový prostě ty jaký mini podpůrky. Kterých je hrozně moc. Třeba, ale teď už se mi to nechce dělat, teď už musíme pobrat s těmi největšími. Tam skládat, no, jak. Čeká, protože asi nebude. Fajn, Regelix. Bulk storage component. Třetí special component. Store infinite items. It's one. Okay, tak to asi dobrý, asi ne. Ten provádí to je trošku zbytečný. Structures asi dobrý. Co chci, jo. Ještě nakazem to. Říkám, že chci jenom z jednoho na druhý věc. Jasný. Tohle tam je z čestek bude dávat do toho, jo. To chci. Let's go. Ježišmarja, já jsem neprdel. Já myslím, že ten že to jen jako dělá věci, že... Řekněme třeba tohle. Co prostě. Nejsi to už ne. Right, to už ne. To už ne někdy. Tak. Dobře. Takový testovací, jo. Takový testovací. Je connected. Tak budeme vidět. Je connected. Teda. Jo, počkej, potřeba nějakou memory card. Co? Vím, tohle má. Tak, a teďka search. Si sem. Jo. Třeba zčarám kanály teď. Tak jo, dobře. To už rovnou funguje. Silný nový. Ale kam to bude dávat? Sakra, počkej. Taky vidět. Jsem jeden takový pokusný, jenom prostě. Takový pokusný králík. Tak. Jo. Když teďka to půjde do toho stopéru. Tady nějak jo, tady. Tam sem třeba. Right. Linked. Přede se do toho. Ne. Nic. Tak když budu třeba. Ne, odsud. Tak čiš. Co? probožuju. Device offline. To si online. Pozor. Tak. Sem. Sem. To si necháme. Sračko. Sernata. Zatěžím, že to bude vlastně normální. Strašky mi se to Počkej, já se člověk chce. Dobře. Aspoň máme nějaký ještě. Ještě. Crafty. Starý řeč nakonec už to ještě teďka buffer. Teďka zítra uděláme buffer. Zítřím farmu, potom bylo crafting. Storage. Uděláme buffer, uděláme crafting. Efficiency level. Co bych chtěl? Čtyři píkny, jo. We don't support LGBT, they should do themselves, just like the car. Judge me how you want. String. Okay, okay. Well, super extreme, so good. Tak. 500 mam, to 5 nic. Useless ass. So it is. Can I upgrade my jetpack to that? Gold, steel. I'm better out of a jetpack. Audio jetpack. Rada nemám ještě. Může tohleto. Actually. Tolik harmonie s nemám. A je to přesně násobek. It's pretty cool. Picture. Damn. Fuel usage. Huge. It's no, not huge. Okay. To 6. Prvity 2 Ultimario, teraz 3. That's insane. Say, okay. Teďka tohleto 3 baterky, takže 3 Tři. God damn, baby, that's it. There we go. Yo, you should kill yourself. Sorry about that. Tak, teďka musím nabíjet asi 4 roky, no, tak dobrý. Až to potřebuji zkoušet. Hezky. Jak se podívám. Plastik. Okay. Sračky. Whatever. So. Okay. Pretty cool. Tak to tady nechám čarčovat. Zatím tady, ale... Dobrý. Tak. A dále checkpoint, myslím, že hotovo. Cože? Dík. To se bude hodit. To je přesně to, co jsem chtěl. Yes. Dík. Za 4K. Jdem sem. Prostě menší. Ještě jednou. ještě. Ještě 64 a pak už jenom ty. Okej, svaret. Tak jo. Start. Tak. Jo, jsme se tady vlastně naučili. Bože.
However, we're going to set it down here just because we have room for it.